In this video we are going to be jumping back into militia logistics. I've mentioned in several videos about having operational caches and that stuff set up already out in the field for when a platoon or a group goes out. When they need supplies, they fall back on those caches, draw what they need, and as they capture additional supplies or get a hold of them, they put them inside those caches to restock them or stock them better. But what if you can't set up a cache in that area, or you need the supplies right away, you can't make it to the cache and that stuff? Well, you may need a resupply drop. So how could you potentially do that? What I have here, a militia unit is out in the field and they need resupply of certain items. Food, maybe medical supplies. Those are the items that are typically in the most wanted list for guerrilla forces. Those are the things that are typically at the top, even ahead of ammunition. So they put out the request, possibly to the militia auxiliary or the quartermaster element of their unit. Let's say that this militia squad or militia platoon is working away from the rest of the company, but they need that resupply. Well, the quartermaster element, your supply element, has the supplies at another location. They can bring them up to you. When they do that, they'll bring it with a patrol and that stuff. They'll have those supplies distributed amongst the people inside the patrol, so that you don't have a couple people that are really logged down or bogged down with all the extra weight. You spread it out. And always remember to package those supplies for faster breakdown and disbursement or distribution. So they need to have a location where they know to meet up at for doing the supply drop. Now, it's possible you'll have some spots that are pre-plotted for this type of thing already on your map, or your overlays and your op orders that you got from your commander before you went out in the field, or you have to pick a location. If you're picking a location for the supply drop, the group that is dropping off those supplies is going to have to get you the instructions on locating where the supply drop is. So maybe they'll have it written up on a note, coded whatever way you come up with for your unit, that gets left at a drop location. After the supplies are dropped off, that note is dropped off. You then go to that drop point for the message, and it tells you, it's located by intersection, we'll call that 13. And we know that intersection 13 is the following spot in our area. That's not the actual name for that intersection, it's the name we gave for it. Or instead of calling it intersection 13, maybe we'll call it intersection Huckleberry. Whatever. So then we have on there an object or our reference point, our starting point. We will have our distance and azimuth. Now we have two reference points here that we can go off of. There's an extra large tree located before this T intersection. And we'll know that, hey, it's the tree X number of meters out. That might be inside the note. And it'll be very noticeable. It'll be a lot taller, a lot bigger. Maybe it's a different type of tree than the other ones around it. It's one that kind of stands out. And then we know that we're going to be going 0 degrees due north for X number of meters. That'll put us up in this area up in here. We know we're in there, but we need to find the exact location. So we have our second reference point, which is the very center of the intersection. Well, how do you tell when you're the very center? Well, You're standing in that intersection, you're looking straight north, you're looking straight down it, look straight to your left, you're looking straight down it, do an about face, you're looking straight down it, you're roughly in the center of the intersection. So then you get your azimuth to where the cache would be. Let's see, what would we end up with here? Let's say we're about 310 degrees and then X number of meters. Well, you have one person that's coming up this way, he gets to the end, he's there. This person's coming from this direction, he maintains his azimuth, makes sure he's dead on it, gets his distance. You should meet up in a general area right here, and that's where your supply drop is. And that's if it's buried. It could be that it's camouflaged inside a bush, or hidden under camo netting, or some other concealed way. But the supply drops should be camouflaged so that a patrol moving through the area is not going to notice it. Obviously, if they're marching through doing a sweep, they'll probably notice it, but if they're just driving by on the road looking off to the side, maybe they won't see it. But we have our two reference points with our azimuth and our distance, and then where those intersect would be where that supply drop was made. So we get up there, maybe we're lucky enough, we just get the azimuth and distance off of this tree. We get up there and then we find the bundles hidden in some bushes. So then we don't have to worry about the second one. But if it does turn out to be a problem, we can't find it with just off of this landmark here, our reference point, then we got to have that second one so we can kind of triangulate. We then get our supplies, we remove the camouflage, we remove the packaging if needed. Maybe it's hidden underneath tarps, hidden in plastic or whatever. We don't want to hump that stuff with us. We take that stuff off, we bury it, we camouflage that in the area, we take those boxes, those packages, and we move on. We do not break it down at this location, we take it to another location. We move off somewhere in the woods and then disperse it amongst our people. And we spread it out as is needed. We spread it out equally, or we do it to bring up people's numbers back to a set level. Whatever is required for that resupply. But do not do it at the resupply drop point, because this is a very likely location where you can get ambushed. So when you're coming in here to do your resupply, you come in, sweep the area around it first before you go in and locate where that supply drop was left at. Secure the area, then get the supplies. Then move out of that area to another location that you've already decided on, and then break down those supplies. Open up those boxes, open up those bags, open up those crates, however the stuff was dropped off. Now if this was dropped off by the militia auxiliary because it's next to the road, maybe they drove up, made it look like they had a breakdown, they're changing out a tire on their pickup truck or whatever. A couple people were hidden in the back of the pickup truck, a couple people were up in front in the cab. Well, the two that were working on the cab, or sitting up in the cab, they work on changing out that tire, and then at a certain point when they know everything's clear, they knock on the side of the pickup truck or whatever. The two that were in back pop out the back of the truck after the tailgate gets let down. They grab the bundles, rush them in there to the location that's been chosen for the supply drop. They get their azimuth, they get their distance. They go through, get the second one, they have it written up. While they're doing all that, you have the two working on the pickup truck changing out the tire. Now, if a security convoy comes up while they're working on the truck, they have their cover story, they're changing the tire. And if that's the case, you might want to have one flat tire inside the back of that pickup truck that you can have down on the ground to say that, hey, this came off the truck, I had a flat. You know, back up your story. Minor details like that can get you caught. And while they're talking to someone out here, the two that are setting up the cache up and then there, or the supply drop in there in the woods, they're laying low until the security patrol moves by. If the patrol starts sweeping into the area, checking it, they, as covertly as possible, back up, move off to the side or whatever to stay hidden, to stay out of sight, a visual range, detection range of that security patrol. Hopefully the security patrol does not give the people on the pickup truck that much of a hard time. Potentially maybe they'll help them out, change out the tire for the guy on the pickup truck. Well, if that's the case, then the two, you know, close up the pickup truck and then they drive off. You know, maybe they'll go down to a farm or something that's a little bit farther down, or a little logging road, whatever that's off on the way. They pull off onto that, stay hidden there for X number of minutes before they double back to pick up the two that were left behind at the supply drop. After the security patrol drives by, heads whatever direction, the two that were in there continue with their tasks, whether it's camouflaging, concealing, getting the information for the location of the supply drop. They wait on the edge of the woods. The pickup truck then comes back. Those two come out, jump in the back of the truck, and then they continue on for home. Mission accomplished, leaving the information at the drop point for the militia unit in the field so that they can come through later that day or the next day, whatever it's set up for the pickup, and then get those supplies. After you, I'll mention this, when you disperse the supplies, you tear the packages apart, camouflage anything. Camouflage the trash that's left behind, camouflage the packages, the crates, and all that stuff. So maybe while it's getting broken down, you have a couple people that are digging a hole or a couple holes for tossing those crates inside, tossing in those wrappers, those boxes and stuff. And then they camouflage where they hid that stuff. Remember your light, noise, litter discipline. In this one you have noise discipline because you're breaking stuff apart. You have litter discipline, you're concealing the trash. You could, if you're doing this at night dispersing the stuff, you'll have your light discipline. You're not going to disperse the stuff with white light. You're going to use a red lens flashlight or some other type of filter to cut down on the leakage of the light being noticed from farther away. So, this is just a technique you can use for resupplying in the field. Now, for all my engineer brothers in the Patriot and Militia movements, always remember, essayons.